everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. So for those of you who have been following me, I mostly make reselling content, selling on eBay and Poshmark and many other apps. But I've gotten myself into a bit of a new business venture recently. So I want to tell you the whole story from start to finish. And actually, I'm not completely finished yet. I haven't closed on this house yet, but it's coming up quickly, and I'm gonna make this like a part one with like where I am now, and then the rest of the process will be in a different video because I'm pretty much through most of my part of the process right now. So let's just get right into it. For those of you who don't know, I'm a college student. I am a senior this year. So I started 4 years ago and I'm graduating actually next week. And in December I had hip surgery. And I sat at home for a month and I didn't do anything. So I kind of got into real estate a little bit. I was like researching it a little bit, like seeing what it was all about, because I knew that like the richest people in the world like had real estate. So obviously there's something to it, you know. So I got into that, and then I discovered the best podcast in the world, and I'm going to link it down below because these guys deserve all the credit in the world. It's called the Bigger Pockets Podcast. They make real estate podcasts, but they also make like other kind of podcasts too, like motivational like self-motivating and like what you can do to better yourself in business and things like that. So I'm gonna link them down below, and I highly recommend you check them out. So I got into that, and I had to do rehab for my surgery for about an hour every day. So what I did is I just picked an episode of the podcast and I listened to it. So I've listened to a lot of their podcasts so far. And I decided that this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to do real estate. So I got a job at a credit union. I got this job a year ago, and I was like an intern. It was for my internship, and I'm turning full time. So I will be working there full time. And so it'll be like a year and a half when I graduate that I'll have been working there. So my plan is to stay in the area. I knew I needed to stay in the area. It's only about an hour from home, so it's a good area. I like it. And so I needed somewhere to live. I live in an apartment right now, but it's student housing, so I couldn't really stay here. So I was searching online and I found some apartments I like in the neighboring town. And the neighboring town is kind of sketchy. I really didn't want to live there if I didn't have to. And my main criteria was that it had a porch or some kind of balcony or something that I could go outside. Because my one here, you can't go outside, and so I'd come home from working this summer and I'd just like be cooped up in here, and it just wasn't fun. So I wanted to go outside. So I had like all this list of apartments and stuff, and I was listening to more podcasts, you know. So about a month ago, I thought, okay, I'm putting off just looking to see what kind of real estate is available. I better just do that. So I looked it up. I just put multifamily houses in, and then you put your city. So that's what I did, and one house came up, and it was exactly what I was looking for. It was a duplex, and it was in this town, the town that I'm in right now. And I'm just going to explain this town a little bit to you. It's like, there's 8,000 people in it. There's not like, it's like an older community, so there's not like too many people, you know, coming and going. It's either older people or college students, and houses aren't for sale a lot. Besides like the student houses, which I didn't want to get into that. So I was psyched when this came up. Like, I was so excited. And actually, the day I looked, it was only posted like 3 days before that. It was crazy how the timing worked out. And so I was like, this is really cool. So it was a duplex, so I'd rent the other side out and I'd live in one side. This has been called house hacking by the Bigger Pockets guys, and it's 100% accurate. That's what it is. It's house hacking. So I was like dabbling with the idea a little bit. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it. You know, it's like a lot of work, and I'm just graduating, and I just didn't know if I wanted to do it. But I thought, you know, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to call the real estate agent and see if I can look at it. So that's exactly what I did. I called the agent, and in my head, this is going to sound kind of like sexist, but I was like, I really hope I get a girl who can show me this, because, you know, older guys kind of make me nervous, like, because they know what they're doing and I don't. So, but I got this guy. He's a few years older than me. He's kind of inexperienced himself, so it's kind of like a learning process for both of us, I guess you could say. I mean, he knows what he's doing way more than I do, obviously, but like he's pretty new to the game too. So that worked out great. I went and looked at the house, and the one side that I would be living on, it's like a fixer-upper kind of house. It's completely livable, but it needs new flooring right away. It has like an indoor-outdoor kind of carpet type thing that's really disgusting, and the walls need painted. And if you do those two things, it's like brand new. It's really nice. So it needs a little bit of work, but work that I can do. I don't need to like hire somebody to do it. The other side is there's people living in it. There's an older guy and his son, and they were really nice, and their side was really nice too. There was like laminate wood flooring down, everything was clean and nice, and it was a really good side. So that I'm glad that I will get the worst side so that I can work in it while I live in it and then eventually rent it out. So I saw the house and I thought I really liked it. And I called my parents and I said, I want to buy this house. And they're like, you're crazy. So eventually they came up and looked at it as well. And they liked it. Surprisingly, I wasn't expecting them to like it. But they liked it and they thought I should do it. So I decided I was going to do this. It was crazy, but I was like, I guess I'm going to buy this house. I don't know what I'm doing at all. I knew that I didn't know what I was doing. But the biggest thing you have to remember is that there's people out there to help you figure it out. Like these people who sell houses, there's a train outside. These people that sell houses are dealing with first-time home buyers all the time that don't know what they're doing. So if you need to know something, you should ask because they're used to it and it's not embarrassing or anything. So that I just had to get that in my head. Because I'm the type of person who like won't even call a doctor. Like I make my mom call a doctor, but I called the real estate agent twice or 3 times at this point, and I made an offer on the house, and they countered. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I'm gonna give you some numbers. The house was listed at $75,000. Now, I know that's low for places, I know that's high for places, but I live in a pretty rural area, so I think it's pretty average here. I offered $63,000. I did that just because it needs a new roof, and I am paying all my closing costs, and I don't have my own real estate agent. So I did a little bit of math, and I had a little bit of help. So they came back and countered with $73,500. I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I can't afford that. So I countered with $68,000, and surprisingly they came down to $70,000. So I took the offer for $70,000. So next comes, after I signed a whole bunch of stuff, and by the way, this all is pretty much done like online and through email and text. I actually texted my agent my offer, and that was really cool. It was pretty laid back. And so after I sent the offer, I signed everything. And next comes the inspection. Well, I chose to have the inspection. I'm not sure if it was required or what, but I wanted to have the inspection because if there's anything wrong in the inspection finds, you can negotiate based on that. So I just wanted to make sure. The inspection was, I think, $400. So I got the inspection, and surprisingly, there was like nothing wrong with the house. I was kind of afraid there would be just because, I don't know, it's an older house. It was built in 1950, so I was just expecting. But the good thing was the girl I bought it from is a real estate agent, so she knew what she was buying when she bought it. So that made me feel a lot better. But I had the inspection done, and the inspection was all good. So what they have to do is take that contingency off the contract, because the contract was like, I'm buying this house if the inspection is good or something like that. It's really basic, but it's pretty much that's the gist. So after the inspection then it was taken off the contract. Next I had to pick a lawyer. Now I wasn't sure like what I had to do with the lawyer. Like he called me, he's like, did you pick a lawyer yet? And I was like, No, sorry, my phone keeps saying there's too much storage. But anyway, back to the lawyer. I wasn't sure what I needed the lawyer for. Like, do I call him and just tell him I'm buying a house, or like what? So my agent's like, actually, no. You just tell me who you want to use, and I'll send over the documents. So that part was really easy because that was the part I was most nervous about. I'm not sure why, but I was really nervous about choosing and talking to a lawyer and things like that. So I got my lawyer. They sent over, I'm not sure what the lawyer does, to be honest. So they sent over everything. I actually got a letter in the mail saying what they did and like what they need and how much it is and stuff like that. So that part was easy. And pretty much all I have left is the financing. So this was a little bit tricky for me. So if you guys aren't aware with like the financing options, there's like a regular mortgage, which kind of, I think that it requires 20% down payment. Obviously, I don't have that. I'm a college student. I don't have much money. So the option that I learned about through the Bigger Pockets, of course, was an FHA loan. This loan is a 3.5% down payment, and it's for people with like bad credit. I don't have bad credit. I barely have credit. So that wasn't an issue, but it's a really low down payment, and a stipulation of an FHA loan is you have to live in the house for 1 year before you move out and rent it. So that's what I'm planning to do. I wanted to get the FHA loan, so I actually went through 2 banks. I went through Quicken Loans and I went through PNC, and I like compared them kind of. So it's really easy. All you do is fill out like an application on both websites. And Quicken Loans called me in like 10 minutes. Like, it was really quick. And PNC, it took a while, and actually I've had a lot of trouble with them. So I'm not using them. I decided to go with Quicken Loans after a bunch of struggles. But so if you want to do any loan, you have to have 2 years of pretty much everything. Like, you have to have your most recent pay stub. You have to have 2 years of your W-2s, you have to have 2 years of tax returns and everything like that, unless you are a recent college grad. If you're a recent college grad, they can use your transcripts instead. So that's what I did. I sent them my transcripts and my pay stubs and like everything else that I needed, everything that I had. And that worked. That was good. It was all good. It's really easy. They do pretty much all the work for you. They just call you and ask you really simple questions that you can answer. And so that's where I am with the process. They are scheduling the appraisal, or they scheduled it yesterday or something like that. So I haven't closed yet. I'm still about a month out of closing, but that's the plan. They told me on the phone that my part was pretty much done now, and Quicken Loans is going to take care of the rest. All I have to do is download the app and check daily to see if they need, what kind of documents they need from me and things like that. So after that, the lender and the real estate agent and the lawyer all talk and do their thing, and I sign something, I think, and then they give me a key, I think. I'm just kind of, if you haven't noticed, I'm figuring this out step by step. So just to wrap this up, it was quite an experience learning how to do this. If you don't do it all the time, like if you're not into buying real estate all the time and things like that, it is a long process. I would recommend it. At this point, it's long, but when you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's a huge learning process to learn the system and like the other side of business, I guess you could call it. So I just wanted to do this because even if I didn't end up getting the house, I would know what the process was. I'd go through this whole thing and know the process. And still, even if something happens and I don't end up getting the house, I feel so much more comfortable with the process, and I feel like I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I'd look around, and I wouldn't be in too much of a hurry because I know how it works now, if that makes sense. So I am going to update you guys after I get the home, hopefully, and let you know the last part of the process. But I hope this helped you if you're nervous about starting the process, or if you don't know if you even should start the process. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it, because I literally wouldn't even call the doctor. That is all. I'm going to let you go, and I hope to see you in a month when I close on my house. Thanks for watching.